Dungeon Doomhands Let's Talk Lore, a podcast.
This very episode, we're finally going to talk about. It's taken 3.5 years, 85 sessions of 4-hour play. Multiplied, do that math. It's a long time. We're finally going to get into what the Green Skull does to the person when it melds with their brain and they finally become the Green Sage, the keeper of the Green Sage.
But before we get into that, roll high and subscribe.
Of course.
I'm Chris. That's Spencer.
Hit that button.
Let's get after it.
Hit that button wherever it is.
Somewhere.
So you've gone through the thing, and you've put it in. You've gone through the ritual, or you've shoved it in, and the Green Skull has finally melded inside your head, and you are now one with your characters, essentially like belonging to this campaign that I've created. You've succeeded in getting the skull and become the Sage.
Yeah.
The entire time that you have that in your body, you will lose health, permanent HP. I've decided there will be one. Okay. It'll be like one HP. Maybe that's it per day or whatever. Maybe more. Maybe I don't know. You want more or less?
I don't know.
I just think that there's an expiration date to this thing. Actually, maybe not. Maybe because it's going to be tricky. So we'll talk about if we need an expiration date.
Yeah.
This is why I like doing it with you first. Well, I have a feeling like Matt's going to want to shove his thing right in, but he didn't have it. But Jake, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But
I think the thing with the expiration date, I think if you
get through that ritual,
if there has to be some aspect of the skull that if you go against it in some way, it starts harming you.
Oh, maybe
because it's trying to get out of you.
Maybe it'll be like if you harm plants.
It could be some random thing.
Yeah.
Like the truest nature of the perfect balance of the Green Skull, and if you go against that principle, you get permanently harmed,
or you just take significant.
No, I like the permanent damage because it is make things hard. It's a core principle of the skull, and if you go against it, there has to be consequences. I think you go against this, for the Green Skull, it starts to try and pull away. Constitution savings throw, you lose 1d8 permanent HP, or something along those lines, or you gain another detrimental effect.
Let's see.
Because I do like that if there has to be a way where the skull fights back.
Yes. So you're going to have... I've created a table, and like everything that I do, it is alterable, because I don't know exactly how that's going to... I don't want it to bore the game or make it too limiting. But I've created a table. It's a D10, but I guess you could pick as you want. But I'm thinking,
definitely going to roll that.
Yeah, I was thinking nothing can be removed by divine intervention.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a wish spell. I wish I didn't have the Green Skull in my head. But I don't know if you're ever going to do that.
But then when you do that,
you have an empty void.
The wish spell,
you'll have an empty void that needs to be filled.
Or you get pulled back in time to the moment before the Green Skull's in your head, and you lost all of what you've gained since then.
So I think the conclusion of my research on the Green Skull, I did a whole bunch of stuff on just from the real world, skulls, and then the color of green. Green is a color that transcends boundaries, represents the natural world, growth, and hope. It embodies the dichotomy of wisdom and desire, makes a powerful symbol in various cultures and contexts, whether soothing or our souls or invoking envy, green's impact on our lives is undeniable, blah, blah, blah. I like the idea of hope. So perhaps if your character does something to shatter the hopes of people, make it a role-playing element, you get a permanent negative, you see people that are hopeful for something to happen. If you're like, well, your son's never going to return, he's obviously dead, you get negative, permanent negative, like,
I like that.
Or the villain is hopeful that he takes over the towers. Well, you're never going to do it. We're here to stop you. Well, you're going to take some,
It doesn't matter who it's against. It's between you and the skull.
If it's natural.
Yeah.
So if the villain has spread is doing something within the natural order of something, but maybe, I don't know, like, we'll have to play that out, but I think that's the hope aspect.
That's something that we can develop and
change,
come up at time.
So I'm gonna read off the list of these permanent curses of the Green Skull. Hold on, that was the wrong thing. So you roll for I was saying you roll for your long rest and you get to pick one of these. Now, I didn't want it to be too powerful. So I don't want to up your stats too much with the group. But some of these are pretty cool, and I want it to be role playing oriented. Now I'm up for changing it if that's not your
No,
go-to.
I think there's a lot of all of this. It should be like your connection to the skull. The skull shouldn't give you magical powers. I don't think it should give you a lot of you can now lift large objects with your mind, unless that's the aspect of the skull of maybe plants grow towards you kind of thing.
Right. So verdant clarity. The mind sharpens with wisdom of the ancient forest. Gain +2 intelligence and wisdom for the day. However, like all things, the color of green is not always good. It's not like growing plants. It's also rot and fungi and shit. So the burden of knowledge. So you become intelligent in wisdom, but the burden of knowledge. Every time you witness a lie, you feel the weight of deception. Roll a DC 14 Constitution save and suffer some mental strain. That's one. Then you can always change these. So, but
I like that idea of there's this the positive and negative, and I love that it changes every day. And
I want it to be more role playing, immersive oriented than just you get a +2 against grass. Or you can fly, that type of thing.
All these different elements of the nature of the skull. Can you put an aspect or a word for each one of those? How that represents the nature of the Green Skull.
Say that.
So you're if
pluses or minuses. Yes.
Yeah. So in my head, I'm rolling, and then he gets the feeling of, say, love,
right.
And he just mechanically he feels more charismatic around people, but he also has a negative effect of something that also goes into that of he doesn't know when to stop loving or stop that desire or draw, and it just goes overwhelming. I like the positive being that harmony and the negative being the imbalance, but of a concept.
Here's another one. I mean, these are you can change them as we go, and we'll always post what it is when we finally get there. But once we agree upon it, it's set.
It's there. Yeah, absolutely.
Nature's balance, cycle of life flows through you. Once a day, when reduced to 0 HP, it turns to 1 HP instead. But with that comes your wounds fester unnaturally when you take them. Magical healing is halved.
Ooh.
So you get this this ability to withstand and come back, but it's halved. And then healing. There's another one, healing growth. In direct sunlight, you regenerate 1 HP. But in shade, you have disadvantages on Constitution saves, which is not going to be good for you if you know. But you can also figure out how to get natural light. Do you have an item? You know, this opens up.
You can't just use a light spell or something.
Which is why
the sunlight.
Dude, you're the green sage, dude. Obviously, you're going to be on the search for like a cane that has light emitting out of it. Yeah. Like they're plants. Like, you know, that's why I like the tie between the sun and the photosynthetic surge. Your body absorbs energy like a plant. You gain haste once a day or twice a day, however you want to do it. Gluttony, but you have your metabolism burns at an unnatural speed, and you must consume a specific sort of plant food or whatever, or you suffer.
So much food, 3 or 4 times as much food as you normally would have to eat.
Yeah, so like you're gonna have to figure out how to go steal food, which is hilarious.
Well, something that all of this is brought up is, for each one of these, is there a physical change that happens to stat?
Yeah, so like the
photosynthesis, or like the one where you gain hit points from the sunlight. Does his skin start to turn green?
So the shade, your skin takes on a sticky green color. You know? Like you're almost like a drowish looking. The next one is Thorned Guardian. Vines and thorns grow around you when threatened. When an enemy hits you with a melee attack, they take 1d6 piercing damage. That's a cool one. But unruly growth, you can't really control those thorns. So the plants react wildly to your presence. You have to trim them and manicure them, or they just give you disadvantage on acrobatics and stealth checks if not entirely manicured. Not pruned. Emerald Mind. Your senses sharp. The advantage of insights investigation checks for the day. However, you hear whispers. The voices of the wild seep in through your thoughts. So it's like a pluses or minuses. There's a lot of like role play aspect to this, but I didn't. If you want more like
I know, I love that roleplay aspect of it, and I think that's what we talked about before of like the aspects of the sages, the influence of the sages coming out whenever they want to, of like them trying to push themselves out. The randomness of all of these different elements of the skull is fun. Every day is a different stag. Hopefully he survives. Every day is a different stag.
It's
this
so
element
funny.
of nature.
You're gonna love this one. I think you're gonna pick 7 all the time. Symbiosis with the wilds. You may speak with and understand all plants and all animals. For the day, they instinctively recognize you as the protector. The opposite.
I'm not gonna pick. I'm always gonna roll. I love that, but no, I love the random.
This one's so funny. Nature's call. Small creatures and vines. The opposite to that, the negative. Small creatures and vines cling to you. like little whatever, like a squirrel or whatever. Every short and long rest. Yeah, every short and long rest, you roll a d6 on a 1 or a 2. A small animal or plant roots itself in your gear or clothes, hindering your movement and halving your speed for 1 hour unless removed. So the squirrel's just gnawing at it, or whatever. That's so funny.
Not a short or long rest. Make that every hour. Because if you can remove it, then you're gonna be like, oh shit, the squirrel. Hi squirrel. Oh, you're up.
Yeah, they follow you. Mm-hmm. But if you don't keep them at bay, they get in there. Here's another one. You see a hidden secrets. Power of the Emerald Eye. You see the hidden secrets of the world. Once a day, you can cast True Seeing in a non-spell slot. So I would imagine that means that you can see the invisible. You can see.
I think
True Sight.
True Sight. You can see everything.
Yeah.
Very full.
But the opposite is that after using this ability of True Seeing, you roll a d6, and on a 1 or 2, you glimpse an unspeakable cosmic entity lurking beyond reality. Roll a DC 15 Wisdom, or suffer short-term madness. Who's that world-building experience?
Yeah. I like it.
There's two more.
I'm loving all.
I'm just going to power through it. The
cool.
fungal resurgence. When you take damage, spores burst from your wounds. Roll 1d6 on a 4 or 6. You regain that many hit points as the fungal network. And you know me, my network in the Underdark. Random tangent alert. And DM recommendation. Use the fungal network that's actually real in the world. If a mushroom gets hit, it alerts the mushroom, local mushroom people. I feel like they're all sort of interconnected in that sense.
Yeah.
Or the mushrooms in the area sort of all know you're aware. So if you're there, so whatever a mushroom would do to protect itself, maybe they all start protecting themselves. Just the physical mushroom, not the.
Yeah.
So anyway, you get that was my random tangent. Sorry, not sorry. Had to get that out. But the opposite of that is rotting hunger. The fungal spores require you and demand sustenance. So if you don't eat, you take necrotic damage every hour.
I like it.
And the last one was the Green Warden's Wrath. Once per long rest, you can unleash a full force of nature around you. For 1 minute, plants within 30 feet. So 1 minute is how many turns?
1 minute is 10 rounds.
That's a lot. For a minute, you can do this. That's why number 10 is the huge one.
Yeah.
Plants within 30 feet become animated and restrain enemies. There's a save. Beasts and plants, creatures within 60 feet fight for you as allies for the duration. You can cast Call Lightning as a bonus action without using a spell slot.
Once a day.
The opposite, though.
Wait, so can you cast that during that 1 minute as a bonus action?
As you can cast Call Lightning as a bonus action without using a spell slot.
That's with all the plants and animals restraining and fighting for you
as a bonus action.
Yeah,
not as continuous bonus action.
Oh, just once during that.
To be determined. See how it goes. Lands the opposite, though, the negative feature. After using this, your body withers for 24 hours. Your speed is halved. You cannot regain HP from magic healing. I mean, it's a huge. You just.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Your skin takes on a bark-like structure, permanent, causing disadvantage on your already advantaged charisma checks because you're because I'm but I think like a bark creature, to be DM's discretion, you are intimidating if you're a bark guy. I mean, that's, I don't want to be.
Well, I mean, he is a satyr already.
Yeah, that's really.
So I mean, like, how much more ridiculous can it get?
So those are some ideas I've been working with for the Green Skull. I wanted it to be sort of themed from our Let's Talk lore and from our Dungeon Doomhand, Agoth Doomhand, and Skulls of Power. I like the idea of the power really being, it sort of promotes a role-playing element to
Yeah.
the game that isn't just because these items that you get are cool. Okay, you can fly, you can teleport, you can go to a
You
plane
heal,
shift,
do all
you
this
can
stuff.
so you can do a wish spell. But even the wish spell, there's sometimes there's a lack of the immersion. Like, I want the item to immerse the character in. So now
Yeah.
you have to remember, when you do that, it's got to be the right time, dude. Like,
Mhm.
And do it when there's creatures around.
Yeah.
Do you have are you on the search for an item that helps you call animals? I don't know. And do you lose these? You pick them. Some of these negative features go on for days. So
I'm just thinking. The positive features last for a day.
right, but you can also
The negative
long rest.
features take a D4 to fall off or something. Or I don't know.
I just think, like, do you reset every long rest? Do their negative features reset every long rest? Do you do this every long rest? Do you choose this every long rest, or do you do it once a day?
Or can you choose to? Or it
Whatever.
could be you commune with the skull. Like during a long rest, you can choose to commune with the skull.
Yes.
And during that time, you can
You roll and change
on
your-
the table.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
So if you have one and you're gonna want to stay with this one for a while, you can stay with it, and then you could roll and try and reset.
Yeah.
And then maybe it takes a D4 or
yeah,
D6
to get it
reset
to
the
drop.
negative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to get it to drop. I like that. Yes.
So the positive ends right away, but the negative just tapers off.
So I liked the idea of it constantly wearing on you.
Mm-hmm.
The more you have it, the more of a burden it is. So I liked the idea that there was some aspect to this thing that sort of like the ring of power. Like, the more you have it, the more it corrupts you.
Well, the more you commune with it, every time you commune to change it, you take that the permanent negative effect.
Right. Or it's like the harder it gets. But I was thinking of a different table. Permanent drawbacks. So every time that you change, every time
you change, roll a d20. If you get a 1, you
yeah,
get a permanent drawback or something.
If you every time you change your commune with the skull, you have to roll and you get a curse of some kind. Photosynthesis overload. You must have direct sunlight at least an hour a day, or you suffer disadvantage permanently.
Yep.
Permanently. So on days that you don't see sunlight, you have disadvantage on Constitution saves. That goes with the green.
Yeah.
Nature's favorite seat. Plants grow. Maybe I'll make the. I don't want it to be too powerful because the other players that don't have the skulls are going to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I like the role-playing aspect, but this is where the permanent curse, because it's
It's a crazy thing that was made by horrible gods.
yes, nature's favorite seat. Plants grow where you sit.
Mm-hmm.
Where they sit. The plants grow where you sit permanently.
Yep.
For more than a minute. No indoor voice. Disadvantage on stealth checks due to involuntary shouting. Power of the sublime.
That is great. I love that.
Green thumb, literally. Hands are permanently stained green, making formal social interactions harder. That's just
It's got to wear gloves.
yeah. So like these permanent things are not like deadly. but it's just like
No,
this is what happens to you.
Yeah.
And imagine you do it 10 times, you get all of these things.
Yeah.
You have no permanent voice. Plants grow where you sit. You have to have sunlight. You
have green hands.
You have green hands, and you have uncontrollable vine hair. Essentially, you're turning into like a tree ant.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Yeah.
hair turns into living vines. Another one is one who you cannot walk silently on natural ground. It's just so funny. I cannot wait to do the Red Skull one or Matt's Gray Skull. It's gonna be fucking crazy. The one, another one is you hear plants scream when you eat them. Maybe I'll just make that something that happens.
That just happens
to everyone.
Yeah.
Jealous of the trees. Trees drop debris on you at inconvenient moments. So jealousy of the trees. Because,
random acorn on your head.
Yeah, the lichen liquor. Your skin is always damp and attracts frogs and insects. And then the emerald eyes, betrayer of lies. Your eyes glow green when you lie. Like, those are permanent. And
I like
we
that.
could alter.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be like you die, but like you now have to.
You are
figure that out.
becoming. I love the idea of like the permanent effects that you are slowly becoming more in tune with this.
It's like if
nature.
It's here it is. So you have a plus or a negative feature that you can pick from, and every time you roll or every time you change, you have to roll, and if you fail, you get one of these permanent curses. The permanent curses aren't really that bad, but they are hilarious. The act of putting the skull in is one that it takes a long time. This is a very powerful object. It's essentially the whole point of the story. So it's going to be life-threatening to do that. But the green skull, essentially, it's like the movie The Fly.
Mm-hmm.
Except for instead of it being a fly that goes into the transportation device, it's like a bush. And you're just sitting there, you're like, oh, this is weird. And it's like a mushroom grows out of your fingernail. And you
like, oh.
Really?
Ah!
Yeah. And
you hear the screaming.
I think on this permanent drawbacks, once you get it, you cross it off. And if you re-roll
then
it,
re-roll.
Yeah, re-roll the...
Until you get them all.
Yeah, and that's essentially it. Now the question is, if your character dies, what happens? I don't think that you can once you are attuned to that skull, it's yours. Like I don't think you can lose it. I don't think you can.
The only way the skull can come out is if
someone takes your head.
Yeah.
Take a head to take a skull. It's the quote, the old quote. So that's what I had planned. We can change it. I will send you these.
I love the framework that you've done.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the final the final charge tables until I have to roll on them.
Yeah, until you.
I think you've gone the right direction that we've been talking about.
Thanks. I think I don't want to overpower because having one player that's overpowered, and we could talk about that too.
Yeah.
Is too much. It's too.
I love that how roleplay centric it is.
Yeah.
It's really transforming the nature of your character into a more in tuned union with the aspects of the skull, of nature, of hope, of love, of growth and expansion, of death, decay. You're just looking at all the horrible things that are going to happen to me.
Yeah, I have something. So this person named Madison Walker. Madsen Walker just wrote, I'm a rogue gnome, super awkward, super acrobatic, any lore that would be good to add into my backstory, ?
Random tangent.
Oh yeah, let me hit that. For you, Mr. Walker, Random tangent. Here we go. Yeah, sure. Here's some lore. Chris,
Reread
start
that.
us off. I'm a rogue gnome, super awkward, super acrobatic. Any lore that would be good to add into my backstory? Chris?
Gnome rogue, awkward. So the first thing that comes to my mind is you're acrobatic because you are trying to get away from situations that are really awkward and you feel uncomfortable about it. So my mind goes to a major situation where you could have a very positive like turning point in your life of you got a job, you met this love of your life, but you just couldn't be in the situation. Or you're about to get married and you decide, I can't do this. This is just not right. There's too many people. I have to get out, and you bolt the hell out of there.
Yeah, I think so. Any lore that would be good to add to it. Lore. Sure. First off, hey, how you doing? What's your name? Where are you from? That's my favorite. Chris took me to when I was playing an NPC, and he just went over to me, and I was like, I didn't really prepare tonight. It's like, don't worry, I got you. You didn't say that, but that's essentially what you did. You're like, I got you. Don't worry, I got you. I'll help you world build. Hey, man, what's your name? And where's the bar? Like, where's the bar? Where's the king? What's going on here? I was like, oh shit, I'm unprepared. So super acrobatic. He's awkward. Why is he awkward? Any lore to that? Is he shy? I guess the question is the lore. Super acrobatic rogue gnome. He's a thief. There's got to be a reason why he's stealing. What is he stealing? What is he searching for? He's a gnome. Is he from the Underdark? Where does he live? Who does he worship? Does he worship no one? If he's a rogue, he's probably on it by himself. He's awkward. That fits perfectly with being an awkward gnome by yourself. He's super acrobatic, though. So, like, I feel like the acrobatic... Is he a circus guy?
Is he? I was just thinking. Is he a dancer?
Yeah, a clown. A mime.
You're.
Not all rogues have to be, like... Not all rogues have to come in like this.
Have the
Like, yeah. They can be a little gnome...
He does gnome performances and steals from people.
And he does that with ease.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to create this guy. That's hilarious. Thank you, Madsen Walker. Hope that that little lore. Do we do a lore there? Yeah.
I don't. It's hard for me. It's hard to do lore
on the
for a character. Yeah. Well, especially someone else's character, because when I drop all my lore on my own, I have the concept of how I want to roleplay them in my head. And once I have that idea of the roleplay, continued tangent alert. Once that well, actually, it's not a huge tangent. Once I have that concept of roleplay, then I start picking those aspects. I'm like, why is this part of his roleplay? So, what situation caused the awkwardness? What situation caused the acrobatics part? The acrobatics team might have lived or worked for the circus for a while.
Yeah, it works well. Awkwardness. He's in a circus, dude.
Yeah.
There's no person that works in a circus that's not awkward.
Awkward. There you go. There's your lore backstory. You lived in a circus. You worked for a circus.
Maybe I should. So I brought my wife and my daughter to the Big Apple Circus, and we were sitting really close. I think it was like COVID-ish-esque time period. I think people were still worried about going out, and so we sat close, first row. The clown came over to me, and he was like, "Here, hold this rope," and I kept on letting go, and he kept on pulling it. He's like, but he whispered to me, "Let go, let go." You know, and I let go. Yeah. But I think no matter how hard he pulled it, that was part of the skit. And then he's like, "Do me a favor, don't let go on this one." And I was like, "This is awkward."
Yeah.
So like maybe that's your story for your character, whose name is I don't know. What's his name? How you doing?
Oh. Well, let us know in the comments once this finishes on whatever platform you're watching.
Yeah,
Let us know what the name of your character ends up being,
yeah, and
what lore you end up taking into a story.
yeah. If anyone else has any interesting lore to add to this gnome guy, but to get back to the topic at hand. I think that was pretty cool. I have to now spend at least. I know that you're going to be giving back the DM reins. It's like maybe a session or two sessions.
At least 2.
Yeah, maybe
2
3. Yeah. So
With
I have
the way things are slowing, and like the story's happening, but the foot distance
yeah, that was funny.
is slowing down. I think it's gonna speed up quickly.
I really found my character.
Yeah, you did. I'm happy that you've had this time to just sit in the character. But
Yeah.
Another tangent alert. This is why we don't do 3 Let's Talk Lore sessions, because the third one is just all tangents.
Tangent. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2 to 3 sessions until we get back to you before we need to finalize any of the tables.
I'm very excited for Monday. It's gonna be sick.
But even once we get back, there's still gonna be a couple sessions before anything happens. So these tables we're not gonna need for a while.
Another 86 sessions.
Hopefully not.
At least have to make the red and blue ones, because I know that Matt's going to want to shove it, or Jake is going to want to shove it in as soon as possible. But it's also been really cool. Your character's going to know where the remainder skulls are. And also, I haven't decided yet, are there more? Maybe.
I don't know. Well, all we know is that they've one skull shattered. One prismatic skull shattered into many. We know it's more than primary colors.
Yeah. And what's going on with the white skull?
I don't know. We don't have the white skull.
Yeah.
We just have a key or a single ring. Single ring? I think a ring.
A ring.
I don't know who has that.
I know. Till next time. Yeah, till next time. Thanks for joining. Roll high, subscribe. We will be back in 2 weeks, but until then, join us on Monday night for Chris's DMing of our epic homebrew campaign, Agoth Doomhand and the Skulls of Power. I cannot wait to be the DM again. I might just kill my character immediately. I don't know. But until then,
no. We have to get Callie home. She has gone through so much. She
has a whole bag of randomly rolled on one table. She has a bag of 1d6 owl bear cubs waiting for her at home. And they're hungry. They are hungry.
They missed
Dungeon Doomhands Let's Talk Lore, a podcast.